if you don't mind allowing Greg to share.
Oh yeah, I don't have to allow, he can just, yes.
And we are recording.
Perfect. Thank you. So,
Okay.
welcome to the September Design Review Committee meeting. I'm going to call the roll to confirm that our DRC members are present. Amari Davis.
Here.
Robert Dudka. Becca Meyer. Andrew Butcher.
Here.
DRC meetings are held in person and streamed simultaneously to allow commissioners, applicants, and the public to attend online. For members of the board and applicants joining us this evening, today's meeting is available either via Microsoft Teams or by phone, and you can use the dial-in phone option if you lose connectivity. Please keep devices muted and your video turned off until your item is under review. Meeting chat is active for participants who need technical assistance but should not be used for questions. Discussion by the Design Review Committee members will be voted here. Oh, no, ignore that. The public may observe the meeting, so participation in the discussion is limited to applicants and members of the HLRB during this meeting. Public comment is welcome at the HLRB meeting. Information about signing up as a speaker or submitting a public comment for that meeting is available on the HLRB website. Finding this is a public forum, today's meeting will be recorded and posted to the county website. All information associated with today's meeting, whether written or spoken, is subject to the Freedom of Information Act requirements. And I don't have an agenda up because we only have one item. And I believe the applicant will be sharing their screen. But if you would like to introduce yourselves and this phase of the project.
Thank you. We get to go first this time.
Yes.
Greg, if you don't mind sharing your screen with the presentation, we'll just do a round of introductions while that comes up. As you all may know, we've seen you for the past couple of months. I'm Lauren with Walsh Colucci, and we represent the applicant Gyre Lynch Real Estate Partners. So tonight in the room with me, we have David Hildy with Gyre Lynch, and then online joining us is the rest of our team. We have folks from Foster Hairsign Architects, Merdad Ruzan, Antoine Ledron, and Eli Perez are here. Sarah Vanch from Traceries has joined us online as well, and then Jeff Krebs from Bike, our civil engineer, is here. So we're back before you. I know we just had a slew of meetings in May and June of this year to talk about Section 3 of Barcroft, where we propose renovations and additions to that section of Barcroft. And we're doing that kind of while the overall master plan for Barcroft is being developed. So that continues to be developed, but we do have great opportunities to continue these renovation phases, especially in areas where there's not anticipated to be any development. So we're bringing forward another renovation project tonight that's very similar in scope to the one that you all just saw, just a couple of differences. So we go to the next slide, right? Is it freezing?
Can you not?
Oh, there we go. Can we go back one more to the aerial? There we go.
All right, I think we're good now.
Yeah, now we got it. Thank you. This is just to reorient you all to where the site is in Arlington. It's along the Columbia Pike corridor in the southern part of the county there. It's outlined in blue as the entirety of the Barcroft site. And you'll see those diagonal lines on the northwest corner of the site. That's the portion that's within the commercial code. Everything else is within the neighborhood's form-based code. We can go to the next slide. And then here's what the regulating plan of the neighborhood form-based code map looks like. Again, that top left corner, now I should also say the orientation has changed now. So north is up, and then south is down. So that corner there on the west is in the commercial code. Everything else is in the neighborhood's form-based code. And then everything you see in green, that light green color, is the conservation area where buildings are intended to be preserved because of their historic significance and because of their affordability as well. And then everything in the light blue is anticipated to be redeveloped. And then the form-based code, if you're at a site within the conservation area, you bring forward a development project, or in our case, a renovation project, it does require review by the HLRB twice. So that's why we come before the HLRB at least twice. We want to come before the DRC to get opinions on on our proposed renovations as well. And so just to clarify, like last time, we won't be submitting any certificates of appropriateness for these changes, just coming to you in your advisory role, though you may submit some letters as well, like you did last time. You go to the next slide. All right. And sorry for all the orientation changes. We're back. We're back horizontal, and the area in gray there. So those are the 5 buildings that we reviewed last time that were part of Section 3. Those were all approved by that project was approved by the county board in July of this year. Then that area outlined in red is the phase that we're looking at now. It's those 3 buildings, buildings 32, 33, and 34 that are within Section 4 of the development. And if you recall, we've kind of color-coded all these buildings based on the time that they were built and the phase in which they were built. So everything kind of planned south that's outlined by that blue dashed line is in phase 1, which was developed first in the 1940s. This phase has more historical significance in that it has more ornamental entry surrounds, and it has more slate roofs throughout versus phase 2, which came a little bit later, is more simplified garden apartment style. And then phase 2 is that part in red at the top. Go to the next slide. And so then here's the aerial image of where this renovation phase is within the whole project. And it's that tail end of the form-based code where no redevelopment's anticipated. So this was a great opportunity to go ahead and get started on renovating these units for the existing residents. And again, it's buildings 32, 33, and 34 there. Yep. Then we go into the photos. So these are some photos of building 32, which was the one farther north facing the parking lot in South 4 Mile Run Drive. Next slide. And this is building 33 facing South 4 Mile Run Drive in the middle there. Next slide. And then this is building 34 right there at the tail end facing South 4 Mile Run. Next slide. And we'll get into the renovation scope of this project. As I mentioned, it's very similar to the project that we just went through. I'll note there are no rear additions because of where this is located in a resource protection area floodplain. So no opportunity there to add additions to the backs of the buildings, make those units bigger. But there was an opportunity to add accessibility because of the way the grade is across building 33. And so I'll get into that a little bit more later, but the key differences between phase 1 and phase 2 is no rear additions and adding some accessible entries. In terms of building renovation, the exterior renovation, very similar. Cleaning up the brick, we will be infilling some of those PTAC older heating and air vent systems on the front and filling them with new brick. And you'll see some of these buildings the brick has already been painted. In the case where we're infilling brick on those buildings, we will paint that brick to match the existing painted brick so that it blends in. And then we'll also be replacing all of the roofs here. And Greg, if you could go back to the photos for building 33 real quick. So I'll note all of these roofs are asphalt roofs, whereas last time they had slate roofs. Here, they're all asphalt. They're in need of replacement. So we'll be replacing all of them. But I did want to call out that arch there in the first photo. For some reason, that arch has a slate roof instead of an asphalt roof. And we're doing a little more surveying to see what the condition of that is, whether or not that needs to be replaced and with what material. So we are taking a look at that. We'll have some more information at our future meetings. If you go back to the summary again, Greg. Thanks. All right, and then on the rear elevation, similar to last time, we'll have new penetrations for the new upgraded heating and air systems and 4 exhaust vents. All new penetrations will be on the rear of the building, none will be on the front. Next slide. The last couple items, similar to last time, we also have those metal basement windows that we'll be replacing with vinyl windows to match the existing building. previous owner had already replaced all of the other windows with vinyl. So we'll be doing the same here, and that does require a modification of the form-based code conservation area standards. And then we'll also be, as I mentioned, we'll be creating new openings for accessible entries on building 33, and I'll show you where those are in a moment, but those will be on the rear of the building. We'll have to take out brick and create a new opening with new doors, and those new doors will be fiberglass doors because of Virginia housing requirements. And so unlike some of the other elements where we're able to request a waiver, we wouldn't be requesting a waiver for the fiberglass doors because they are a new element, less likely to be waived by Virginia housing. And also from a preservation perspective, they will be on the rear of the building, and they will also, because they're new and a little bit different, will distinguish original from new, so as to not be, faux colonial revival style, essentially. And then what else? Oh, yeah, we will be replacing light fixtures, things like that in kind. And then like last time, we are proposing to clad the wood trim and the surrounds with vinyl, and we are proposing canopies. We will be requesting a waiver for those two items from Virginia Housing. Go to the next slide. And then here's a layout of the site. This is building 33 on your right, where you see the units. The address is 4219 through 4213. So this is showing the 4 new ADA units. So we're converting, sorry, I should have mentioned this. These 3 buildings have 77 units across all 3 of them, and they're all 2-bedrooms. So we're converting 4 of the 2-bedroom units to accessible units by adding these entries to the back. And you can see we'll have to make some improvements to the parking lot to restripe it in order to provide for accessible parking spaces, as well as a trash enclosure that's accessible for those folks. And then a pathway and ramps up to the new accessible units because of the way the grade slopes back there. You have to get the ramps up to the height of the units. So because of that ramping, we'll have to make some landscaping changes, and there will be some tree removal. We can get more into that at the next couple of meetings as we're continuing to prepare exhibits and studying the impacts of that. But that's essentially the proposed site improvements there. And I should mention, because of the restriping, we'll be losing a net loss of three parking spaces in order to provide those new accessible spaces. And so now I'll hand it off to Merdad with Bonstra here. So I have to go through a little more detail of the improvements.
Good afternoon. So I think that the scope mostly is explained. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So we are making well, except for the scope of the renovation that Ms. Riley explained it very well. We are creating 4 accessible units in these 2 addresses, 4217 and 4215 of the building number 33. This elevation is the back of the building. So as you see, we have to create, well, first of all, I need to say that the topography here helped us to create these 4 units because elsewhere in other buildings, we couldn't make it. But here we could access from the back through the ramp. And then on the right side, as you see, we just need a sloped walkway to the 2 units. Because the slope is less than 5%, so it's not qualified as a ramp. But on the left side, the difference of elevation is more, so we created a ramp with railing and guardrail and everything that is needed. So we are also creating 4 new openings to get inside the units, and with 4 new doors that in a few minutes we can explain. We can show in the next slides. This is a perspective of the same elevation that you see, shows in 3 dimension. So on the left side, again, you can see the ramp that is like an L-shaped ramp, and then it has a common landing for the two entries to the unit 1 and unit 2 on the left side. We're building the address 4215. And on the right side, as you see, it's just a sloped walkway that creates the access to those two units on the right side, building 33, address 4215. Next slide. What we can say on this slide, well, we're showing the new light fixtures exactly. I mean, we're very similar to the existing for all three buildings in the scope. Building 32 has 14 of these lights. Building 33 has 9, and building 34 has 5 of these lights. The same type of exterior lighting. And then also we have the cladding on the left side. We are showing the cladding on the existing, trims around the door and elsewhere. Next slide. Same as the phase 1, the 5 buildings 22 to 26. We are replacing the windows with the vinyl windows. These are like simulated divided lights, 6/6, and then also we are changing also the basement windows as they are. I mean, in kind. So the vinyl windows match the existing style and also the color, but they are much more performance in terms of U value and SHGC. Next slide. Okay, I spoke about the 4 doors for the accessible units. So we are trying to imitate the same style in the existing buildings. These are the style of we see it in elsewhere actually in these buildings. On the right side you can see that we have the fiberglass door that is accepted by the VHDA. It is regulated by VHDA. So we are going to use this style of 9 lights on the top, and then with the same simulated divided lights that we had it also in the windows elsewhere. So this is, yeah, please.
And to just clarify, these photos are from the neighboring buildings. So these are examples of exterior rear entrances on buildings 30 and 32. That's, like Mehrdad mentioned, we're imitating with our new doors, but we will not have that adjoining window next to them. It'll just be the new door with that kind of arched brick over it. Just wanted to clarify that.
Correct. Well, the photo is just showing the style of the doors that we're going to use for those 4 new four new doors for the accessible units. And I think that this is the last slide, if I don't mistake.
I think we still have similar to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, as I explained, we are going to for the exterior trims and fascia, we're going to trim. We're going to use the cladding. Vinyl cladding or vinyl coated aluminum or similar materials for these trim and fascia. Oh, okay. About the canopy again, this is exactly the same as the phase 1. We showed in that phase 2 different style of canopies. One which is on the left side, which is more modern, and the other which was more traditional. And the committee went for the more traditional on the right side. And in this slide, we're showing both of them. It provides a minimum of 30 inches of overhang. And then on each side of the door, it goes 12 inches on the side of the door. So that's the dimension of the canopy. And again, this is the modern style of it, the option 1. And this is the second option, option
This
two,
is the
which is
one
more
that-
traditional, yes.
Yeah.
And this is the one that we are going to use definitely, yes. And then the number of canopies also is marked, is indicated on the left side at the bottom of the page. So building 32 will get 8 canopies, building 33, 7 canopies, and the last building 34 will have 4 canopies of this option 2 canopy. The back of the, for the back side also we have that back entrances also we are going to have canopies. So building 32, 6 canopies. Again, the number of canopies is marked here, but with the same style of option 2.
All right, thanks for that. Then just to summarize our application materials, we submitted the form-based code use permit last week, and that's now being routed to staff for review. So we've got that use permit for our building renovations and site improvements with the modifications, similar to last time, requesting a modification for the parking to permit the existing, ratio to remain minus those three spaces that were need removed to create the ADA accessible spaces. And then we've got the kind of 2 tiers of conservation area standard modifications. The ones for the window replacements to be vinyl material, for new rear penetrations for ventilation, the heating and air systems, and then for the new rear penetrations for the accessible unit entrances and that fiberglass door material. And then the second set of conservation area standard modifications are the ones we'll be requesting waivers for from Virginia Housing, which is that vinyl aluminum cladding, the wood trim, and the canopies. In terms of timing, this is our first meeting with you all here. We're anticipating going to the HALRB the next meeting this month on the 20th. And then again, at least going to the HALRB at the October meeting. And we're anticipating going to Planning Commission and County Board on this use permit later this year in December. So that concludes our presentation. We're happy to get to discussion and answer some questions.
Could we go back to the slide with the accessible entrances at the rear?
The elevation?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The problem I see is this seems to be grossly overkill in terms of the handrail. You don't have that much of a grade or drop, and I don't think you need a series of vertical pieces there. You could solve that with a couple of light horizontal or near horizontal pieces and have a handrail that doesn't present such a strong handrail in front of it. That handrail could be handled a lot better, I think.
Well, my answer is that at this time we really didn't design the railings, so definitely you're right. We can make this much lighter and better for this purpose.
And Murdad and Jeff, are there any like building code or accessible regulations that require, a railing every certain distance, or how much room do you have to work around?
Well, normally between a sphere of 4 inches should not pass through the pickets, but I should say that we still don't have a very precise survey here, and probably the difference of elevation is so small that probably we don't need this much pickets and railings. But Jeff, I think that you can better speak about this.
Well, I think that the elevation change is pretty accurate, and I think we do need a technical ramp as shown on the left-hand side of the screen. the right side, and I do believe though it can be made less visually apparent, right? And I understand where you're going, and we will certainly work with, with the Bonds for Hairline team to lighten that as much as possible. So it does less obscuring of the building behind it, which is, I think, what you're driving at. So.
Well, I think what I was driving at is I don't think you're that high off the ground that this begins to imply a handrail with the 4-inch maximum gap. I don't think that's at all necessary because it doesn't look like you're more than about 2.5 feet at the most off the grade. That's why I'm saying I really think you can go to a horizontal as opposed to a series of vertical, closely spaced balusters. A simple series of several horizontal pieces would not be anywhere near as visually obtrusive and call that much attention to the handicapped access, I think, or accessible access. I think that's what I was getting at. Visually, this just really says, draws attention to it, and it really doesn't have to.
That's a good comment. We'll dig into that.
Yeah, we'll look at what our options
Yeah.
are within the regulations and come up and, see if we can come up with a design that's less visually intrusive.
Absolutely.
Will the light fixtures be the same on the front as on the back as well? That sort of, I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
Will it be or will it be different, I guess, from back to front?
are the light fixtures on the back next to the new entrances, are those new? And then will they match the front? I assume they will.
No, this is just graphically, it's symbolic. It's not exactly what the light fixtures that we showed on the picture will be the light fixtures that we are going to install. Yeah, this is basically coming from the software, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
One other question, you did say that the unfortunate air conditioner HVAC units are going to be removed from the front and they will be on the back. All of them? Is that
On all, I think on all rear elevations, we're gonna have some new penetrations
Right.
for the upgraded heating.
Yeah, you
and
can
air
see the
systems.
vents through the brick vents like last time through the rear.
Mhm.
So, yeah, those PTAC units on the front will be removed and
you can infill that with brick?
So we're infilling all that with brick, just like we did with the first
Okay.
phase. And then, like I mentioned, Greg, if you go back to some of the existing photos, some of these buildings have already been painted that kind of blonde
Mhm.
color. And so where we have, we'll be removing those vents next to where the numbers 3 and 4 are. And when we infill that with brick, we'll match that brick to the paint on the outside so that it'll fit in seamlessly.
I had a question about the passageways. Is there only one of those, or are those like at every building?
There's only one in this section.
Okay.
Although, I can't say, Sarah, or you might know more about whether or not that kind of archway at building 33.
Yeah, the right there.
Are there other ones across Barcroft site that are like that?
I think so, but let me follow up with you.
Okay. I know
There's a
this is the
similar
only
one
one in
on-
this section. Yep, sorry, Antoine.
There's a similar one on building 32 that you can kind of perceive on that key plan where you have that split between the bottom leg and
Okay,
the
there's
top leg.
Yeah, there are two altogether.
just on this section.
Oh, sorry,
Yes,
I thought you
yes.
meant
Yes,
on
in
the,
this section.
But we
on
can,
the
we
site
can follow up on
in
other
total.
sections too, if that
Yeah.
appears at other places.
There might be others on the site, yeah.
Will the new, I guess, the new HVAC units be located in the, will it be on site somewhere? Like, will it be heat pumps on site somewhere, or will it be all, or will it be?
It'll be interior to the building,
Be all interior?
right?
Yeah, I think that, maybe Jeff Kravitz knows this, or the Monster team, but I think we have, they're in different places around the buildings. They're kind of ground mounted. Yeah, you're right, the heat pumps.
Yeah, and then Jeff, don't we have some, like small units that are going outside of the building?
There are a few, yes, and they've been preliminarily located sort of on the backside so that you don't see them from the street, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
Like those little condenser units?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I think we're showing that in our more detailed use permit plans.
Okay.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
those-
shown there.
Anything else?
Trying to think. I guess the condition at the 88 units now, is it like a stair down or stair up? It's a curiosity.
There's nothing. Greg, do we have photos of the
Yeah,
back of building 33 up there? No, I think it's just
Yeah,
the front.
there's no door.
There's no door.
There's no door to right now,
Oh,
so,
okay.
because if you remember, these buildings are, you
Kind of
enter and they
yeah,
split, so
Right, yeah.
you can't get accessibility through the main entrance, so
Oh.
you have to punch through the back.
Yeah,
Okay.
the idea is you would park there
Okay.
and
This is
then
back,
walk.
and then you'd be up on a higher level to get.
You'll be up at that, and then,
Oh.
and this is a unique part of the site where the grade actually goes up with us.
Sit it down, right.
Yeah, so we can,
It's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
rare.
we can punch in without doing a huge ramp,
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, like where Dad said, it is pretty rare to find opportunities and with these existing buildings to put accessible in because of the
Yeah,
split.
so I think probably the bottom left, number 3, is kind of
Oh, yeah.
an example of, there's a little bit of, you have to get up a little bit to get through the back of the unit, but there's no access there right now.
Oh,
Lauren, to follow up on your
Mhm.
other question, I think this type of passageway is unique to this section, section 4, but there are other passageways a little bit different in the second phase on the site.
Great, thank you, Sarah.
The second phase definitely has these like big paths, like the building, it's such long buildings, we have such long buildings there that
Yeah.
they just kind of cut through.
Oh.
They're not ornate, they just cut
Right.
through the building, but.
Oh.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
definitely different than this.
Not as much for you without the building additions.
Yeah, it's not as much, yeah, it's not as much, yeah. It's a good thing.
Right?
Will the shutters be retouched or rehabbed, or will they just be left sort of as is in place, or is there any plan for the shutters, which are some a little bit aged, that's curiosity?
Yeah, David, I think we are repairing those where needed, kind of like,
Yeah, we're replacing kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
but they would be replaced in
in kind of.
like kind of which ones are in disrepair, those would probably be the ones that are replaced. All right, so if there's any, so for next time, we'll follow up with you on the railing design, see if we have anything more there. And we'll plan to be back before the larger group in a couple weeks,
Right.
on the 20th. Fabulous. All right.
Thank
Thanks for your
you.
time.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming out in person.
Good to
just
see you
for-
again, like I said, any more phases, we'll see you again and again.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone who joined us online.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.